Hey guys, I just wanted to show you a Wi-Fi that I'd recommend for your business or for your home that works pretty reliably, and it's pretty scalable as well. You can put multiple APs and they can all have the same name and password, and it's probably one of the best Wi-Fi systems they have out now. So here, let me just show you what I'm working with today. I'm working with I have two these AC Pro access points, wireless access points. And I'm using these to replace, I just have the ISPs, like a Verizon router that's doing my Wi-Fi, so it doesn't really have much range to it, and it's not as reliable. So, but I would recommend, you don't really necessarily need the Pro. You can go with the lower end one, the Lite, which is 81. I'll put all the links for all these, but this one, this will work for basically most people in their house and business. It's going to be the same configuration for all of them. This one you could probably use if you need to cover a longer area. Maybe if you just want to use one AP but cover a larger area, I would get that one. But you can get multiple ones of these if you want to get like 2 or 3 to go around a house or a business, or as many as you want really. So alright, well let's get started. I'm going to show you how I physically have it connected, just to kind of show you, because it does come with a PoE injector, which basically powers. Doesn't use like a power adapter, it uses the power over Ethernet to get power. So I'm just going to show you how it's physically connected. So give me a minute, I'm going to cut over and show you what. So I'm back, and I'm going to show you how I physically have it connected. So here's the AC Pro wireless access point. So the way it's connected is, first I'm going to show you there's an injector. This is the injector right here that it comes with in the box. And there's 2 ports on it. One has LAN, L-A-N, and PoE. The PoE end goes from that port into the access point. I mean, right now I have everything kind of around each other, but you could run cables or use something like a home plug power line to get a cable through. But I just have them all next to each other right now. But maybe in the real world, in a business, you'd run cables throughout the either the house or the work, but at a house it's sometimes easier just to get those home plug things. I'll put a link in the description to show you if you need to get something like that to run the cable longer, maybe for a second AP if you want to have one away from your modem or router. So this is the Verizon router right there. That's what I'm kind of swapping this out for. This will take over the Wi-Fi and I'll disable it on there. So getting back to connection of all this. So the PoE injector, got to plug in the power strip. PoE port goes to the access point to power it, and you can see you can put it into the main port. There's 2 ports, secondary and main. You can go right into the main one, and so this is what's powering it. There's no power adapter on here, so that's how they do it with power over Ethernet. And then the LAN port, the LAN, goes from there to your router or firewall. So mine's a Verizon router, so it's going into one of the LAN ports on that router. So that's basically how you physically connect it. If you were to add a second one, you just run a cable from, it would look exactly like this: PoE to AP, LAN to your router, or if you have a switch, also if you have a switch for, basically it would allow you to connect more devices. That's more probably a business though that would have that. So yep, this is how it's physically connected. I'm going to switch back over to the PC to get this all configured. Alright guys, I'm back on the PC. I'm going to show you how to get it all configured to get the Wi-Fi up and running. So first we're going to need the Uni-Fi controller software for Windows. And this should take us right to their site. Ubiquiti site for getting it. And we're going to go down and get the one that is called Uni-Fi controller for Windows. We'll download. Hit it. Hit the download button. There we go. Download file. And give it a minute to download. So basically this is the controller software for configuring it. Once you configure it, you don't have to keep it running. You can just get rid of it. You can uninstall it. But if you get rid of it, I'd make sure you have a backup of everything if you uninstall it or your computer dies. So you always want to get a backup of the configuration. So first, we're going to install this software. And if you don't already have Java on your PC, it'll prompt you, but it'll take you to the site to get it for you. Java, But alright, just wait till it gets all installed. Alright, it's done. Let's start it up. Minimize this. We don't need it anymore for right now. So this is the Uni-Fi controller software starting up. It takes a bit to get started. Oh, there we go. Launch it. So it's going to take us here. Should be for like the initial configuration of it. Okay, and this is like time zone stuff, and I would keep enable automatic backup, because you could come in here and restore from a backup if you had any backup to bring it back. If you had it on another PC, if you like wanted to do it on another PC, if you want to edit anything. So it did find our device, so I'm going to select it. And I'll show you adding it. That's why I haven't done both devices. I'm going to show you and add an additional if you later want to do that. To add a second access point for wireless access somewhere else. We'll hit next. And now we're going to do Secure SSID is the name of the network. So what it's going to show up on your laptop or your phone, the name of it. So I'm just going to call mine Home Wi-Fi. And password, I'm just going to set a password I want for my Wi-Fi. And I'm going to hit next. And now this is for the controller. This is the username and password for the controller. So I'm going to just make my name, the username, my name, and then my email. I'm just going to put in a fake email for me. I'm going to put in a fake email, but I would put your legitimate email in for you instead of password. And it does make you put in a pretty strong password. And device authentication, you can just leave this there at the default. And next. Just kind of gives you an overview and finish. And for this, you can just skip this. This is if you had a cloud login account, but I'm going to skip it. And now on the AP, if you see it, the light on the actual access point turns bright blue around the, and it'll have around the ring that it has of light. So I'm going to log in with my username and password that I set just there. Sign in. So we're in the controller software, so we kind of want to just go down to, because you can use this for like if you have their firewalls, but we're only really on the LAN side, on the wireless access point side. So let's go to the devices, and you can see here it's provisioning it, and should be ready to go in a bit. And sometimes it does do this stun communication fail, but then eventually clears up after it gets fully configured, or after a bit. You can configure, you can give it a name. I'm going to call this one AP Access Point 1. You can name them more descriptive names to keep it so that you know what, where the AP is maybe located, or give it a descriptive name. And usually if you have more than one AP, you want to, right now it's going to work fine the way that we have it. And you can do stuff like restart the access point if you want, upgrade the firmware on it. It's a good idea that once you get it to upgrade the firmware just so you have the latest version. So I'm going to do that. But as it stands now, I mean, you have it, it's upgrading right now, but it's configured to what it needs to be, and it's going to work for you right out. So basically this is all the configuration that it took, just basically that initial one. And next I'm going to show you how to add a second access point, but let's just wait till this is all done. Takes a bit to upgrade, but once it's done, because it's got to download it and then install it on the device and reboot it. But yeah, this configuration is going to be the same for those three models that I talked about, the Uni-Fi AC Pro, the Lite, and the long range. And but I think the Lite is going to work for like 80-90% of people. The AC Pro, I think it's only going to be really beneficial if you have a feature I think there's just there's like a few extra features on it, but I don't think it's very important for most people. The cheaper one's better, and you can just buy, if you're a business and you need multiple ones, you can buy as many as you want, put it in this software. So we'll wait for this to upgrade. It should be going through. And right now, as it's upgraded, it just flashes. The lights on it flash on the actual physical device. So I'll probably speed this up to get this kind of moving quicker on the video so that it's not taking as long. Still kind of going through with provisioning it now, and look, there we're good to go. So now it's all connected up. So let me check. Right now I'm connected to my Verizon router, so I can't disconnect. But let's just see what we got here. So yep, there's our home Wi-Fi we just made. So that's the access point broadcasting. So let's try to connect to it from here and see what it all connects up fine. So I'm gonna go. Set the password I set on my Wi-Fi, and then next. Yes. Let's see if it connects up. So there you go, yep. So now we're good to go, and yep, that's all it took to configure it. Next up, I want to show just how to add an additional AP if you get another one, or yeah, if you need to have another one, and you want to add a second one into it. So let me get that all connected up, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I got the second access point hooked in. So there's the first one, what it looks like once it's fully configured. Sorry, I got the cables kind of all over the place. You can turn this ring off, but I usually just keep it on because it looks cool. It looks like a little flying saucer. But alright, here's the second one. So it hasn't been configured yet, so it's just the white light instead of the blue one. So right now I'm going to show you, it's plugged in the exact same way as the other one. Normally these wouldn't be right next to each other, obviously, because you'd run cables or you'd use something like a power line adapter to have this in a different room somewhere else. I just have them next to each other just for convenience to show you, because I'm in an apartment, so I can't really, wouldn't be anywhere else to put it. So here it is, the injector's going to that power strip. You give it power to the injector, and then the PoE goes to the main port on here. There's a secondary and there's a main. I always used to use the main, and that's powering it, so that's giving it power. And then LAN goes to LAN up on the Verizon router. And this is the cable right here that I have for the second AP. That one's for the first one. So that's just how it's connected. So we'll get back to the software and we'll get it added in. All right. I'm back. Let's get that second AP added. So I'm going to open up the Uni-Fi controller software. Just a reminder, yeah, you don't have to have this running. Once you're done configuring it, you can close it down. It doesn't have to like the PC doesn't have to always be up, and you don't need to have this software to use the Wi-Fi, even in the unified way where there's, you know, multiple access points are using the same name. You don't have to have it online. It's just used for initially configuring, and then if you want to change anything in the future, such as like what we're doing now, adding an access point. So here's firing up. Log in. Alright, and we're going to hop over to devices. And you can see this is the other one that just came up, pending, they call it pending adoption, that's the status. So then you just hit adopt. And it starts provisioning it, giving it the configuration of the other one so that it matches. And it takes a bit, so give it some time. Also for this one, it usually does a stun communication, but it will go away once it gets completely started up. We can call this one AP2, whatever descriptive name you want to give it. This is where you can turn the LED on and off if you want to. I just leave it on because it looks cool. So save. And usually the one thing you want to do if you have, we're probably going to want to upgrade it as well. Get it to the same firmware as this one. It's not an old firmware, so why don't we upgrade it? Confirm. So I'll probably speed this up to so we don't have to wait for the upgrade to finish. Alright, now it's looks like the upgrade finished, and it's just provisioning it now. Back to the same config, so it has the same name and password as the other one. Okay, looks like it's good. So what I'd recommend when you get more than one is to usually, so Wi-Fi works on channels, whether you're using, so there's two radios you're probably going to want to look at. This is with when you have multiple access points, you probably want to put them on, minimize this, sorry, I got to go to config, let's redo the configuration, and go down to radios. So sometimes you want to change the channels to different ones. Usually it's when you're on the 2 gigahertz, there's usually 2 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Usually you want to do it's like 1, 6, or 11. So if you have APs that are near each other, you should probably do one of them should be on 1, and then cue those changes. And then the other, this is for the 5 gigahertz. We'll put this at like 36. Do the changes. And then we'll apply those changes just so it's getting them. And then for AP2, let me just make this all so we know we're on the right one. AP2, alright. Let's just make sure we got, so we're in config, and then radios. We'll set this one to 6, the other one was 1 on the 2 gigahertz, and we're going to put this at 40, we'll put it at 44. The thing that you run into is like they call it channel overlap, but you usually on the 2 gigahertz you want to use 1, 6, or 11, and just so they don't interfere with each other on the channel. So I usually change the channels up and then changes, and there's an apply changes button at the bottom here. And then this should, so these basically make it so that they don't overlap and you can roam around and it doesn't get interference. It only comes into play when you have more than one access point. You just kind of want to be aware of which ones are on which channels. You kind of want to, like, if you have 2 that are kind of near each other, I'd put them on 2 to make sure they're on 2 different channels, so that they don't cause conflict with each other. But they're all gonna use the same name, which I had defined as home Wi-Fi, but you can put it as any name you want during the initial configuration. Otherwise, yep, we're ready to go. It's all good to go. Now you can use them, and you can roam around to both access points. You can walk around, and it will just hop over to the other one if you're closer to that one, or if the signal strength's better. So, yep, guys, this is how you configure Uni-Fi by Ubiquiti. It works for all the 3 APs that I had shown, and it's relatively simple. And that was how you add an AP, where I showed in this step just here. If you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comment section, or you can email me. I'll put my email in the bottom in the description.